Hello everybody and welcome. Today we're going to talk about innovation in leadership and how you can use creativity to make your career and your company more successful. So we're going to talk about what is great leadership. We're going to define what does it actually mean. Does it just mean people like Steve Jobs and Jack Ma, or are there great leaders around us everywhere we look? And if there are, what can we learn from them? And how can we exhibit great leadership today in whatever we're doing?
So one of the things we want to explore is the difference between Chinese and Western innovative leadership. Like, what does it actually mean to think about these issues cross-culturally? If we think about the great innovative leaders of our times, we might think of Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs on one end of the spectrum. We might think of the Jack Ma's and the Pony Ma's on the other end of the spectrum. But one of the key things that we really want to explore is the ways in which this plays out culturally and the extent to which Chinese leadership might be different than Western leadership, and how we think about those differences and what the opportunities there are.
I like that. And I tell you, I think about the East and the West styles of leadership. And then I think about, let's think about a global brand. Let's think about brands that have actually exhibited great leadership and become globally successful. Companies like Nike. Now, I spent a couple of years at Nike and I learned a lot about what leading is really like, what innovation culture, when it's all the way through every single aspect of the business, from the retail experience to the CEO's office to the sort of lowest person on the ladder. I learned a lot about that, and I'm looking forward to sharing that. I also want to take that application. I want to add that to Doug, your experience, and show people how you can put that into your own business. Because it's one thing to learn about how great Nike is, but what does that mean to you? What can you do about that? Well, we're going to explore how you can put that into your business today. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. You can learn today, and you can actually act today.
So I love the way you frame that, Simon, in the sense of leadership running throughout the organization. And one of the things that we want to talk about over the course of these conversations is how you create an innovative culture to both inspire your team, but also to run throughout the organization, and how you help them find their own innovation. We're going to talk about a couple of different organizational models. I've spent some time working at one of the companies that people think of as a very innovative company throughout the world, but I also spent time for this company in China, and that company is Apple. One of the interesting contrast cases that we would like to bring up, not as to say that companies like General Electric aren't innovative, but they're based on different business models and different organizational structures. And the reason we want to talk about those things is to really drive home this point that the structure of your organization has implications for the culture of the organization itself. And so as leaders, we have to help people think through, how do you build a structure that creates an innovative culture? Now, in order to take that another step further, we want to talk about some of the things that we've taught in leadership courses. I particularly love this framework that I call the VAMI framework, which is layered in terms of the vision, the alignment, the motivation, and the introspection that people need to bring to these issues. And we think the key takeaway that we really want to drive forward here is if you're going to actually build a successful organization and be successful in building an organization that's built on a culture of innovation, you have to think about all of these levels. And we're going to talk about a couple of different examples. Here again, we might think about Steve Jobs, or we might think of Elon Musk and a couple of different companies. And we might also think of some Chinese examples. And so we really want to just push forward this idea that if you want to turn creativity and innovation into profit, you have to think carefully about all these different levels.
You know, there's something else, Doug, that we're going to touch upon, which I think is absolutely critical to any industry, and that is ESG, environmental, social, and governance. Another way of talking about sustainability, or CSR, corporate social responsibility. Some people think it's an option. It's not. And in this conversation, we'll explain why it's not an option it's a necessity, who is demanding it, and what you can do about it. Because believe me, it's coming whether you like it or not, and it's closer than you think, but we do have some solutions for you. So all in all, Doug, I think we've got an amazing program. I want to finish by just letting people know that we will help them how to tell stories, because we're going to talk about some stories through there, but we're also going to talk about the importance of being able to tell a story, to explain your brand, to explain your career, to explain your function, so that people can buy into what you're doing, whether it's your internal team or your external team. I mean, as you said, you've worked for some companies that have the best stories in the world. I'm thinking about Apple in particular here. So I think you've got an enormous store, which I'm keen to learn from as we go through this.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I love the fact that we're going to merge together these ideas of sort of an analytical approach to leadership with the storytelling, and I can't wait to learn from you as well, Simon. It's going to be fun.
Thank you. So join us for all these different programs. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.